And in sports, former Leeds and OM manager Marcelo Bielsa is the new manager of the Uruguay national team. The 67-year-old had been out of football. He has been out of football management since leaving Elland Road almost 15 months ago.
Well, Rugby League World Cup, France pulls out of hosting tournament in 2025. France has pulled out of hosting the 2025 Rugby League World Cup, with organizers citing financial reasons for the decision. The tournament was awarded to France after initial plans for it to be held in North America were scrapped. We'll have Gabellison tell us more.
Latest world sports. Football. Official. Marcelo Bielsa is the new Uruguay head coach. And former Leeds and OM manager Marcelo Bielsa is the new manager of the Uruguay national team. The 67-year-old had been out of football management since leaving Elland Road almost 15 months ago. The Uruguayan Football Association confirmed Bielsa's appointment on a deal running until the 2026 World Cup. He succeeds Diego Alonso, whose contract expired after the World Cup in Qatar earlier this season, where Uruguay suffered a shock group stage exit. Bielsa served as manager of Argentina from 1998 to 2004, and he also had a 4-year stint in charge of Chile. Bielsa guided Leeds back to the Premier League from the Championship in 2020 and was one of the most popular managers in the club's history, but he left in February last year following a run of 4 successive league defeats. The veteran coach had been one of the leading candidates to take over at Everton earlier this season after the sacking of Frank Lampard, but despite holding talks with the Toffees, he rejected the role. He feared the squad lacked pace and also worried about their battle against relegation, preferring to take over in pre-season. Bielsa's lengthy managerial career has also included spells with Athletic Bilbao, Marseille and Lille. Uruguay are currently 16th in FIFA's world rankings, with Bielsa's first major campaign at the helm set to be next year's Copa America in the United States. Jun-ho, South Korean footballer detained in China in bribery probe. China has confirmed its detention of a South Korean footballer in relation to a bribery case. Jun-ho, who plays in the Chinese Super League, is in police custody in the northeastern Liaoning province, China's foreign ministry said. The 31-year-old was detained at the Shanghai airport on Friday, according to South Korean media. Reports of Mr. Son's detention came amid a concerted crackdown on corruption and match fixing in China's football. Diplomats from South Korea will meet with Mr. Son to figure out exactly what kind of charges he has been detained for. Yonhap News Agency reported, citing sources. The country's foreign ministry said its mission in China was providing consular support to Mr. Son, but declined to comment further. China has arrested at least 4 football officials in the past 3 months for alleged wrongdoing. Mr. Son moved to China's Shandong province in 2021, where he played as a midfielder for Shandong Taishan. The club won the Chinese Football League, the highest tier of professional football in China that year. His current teammates include former Manchester United and Everton midfielder Marouane Fellaini. He has also played 20 international matches for his home country, including in the FIFA World Cup last year. A Korea Football Association official said it had sought an explanation from Shandong Taishan, but has not heard back from the club. Chinese football has long been engulfed in allegations of bribery and match fixing. Recent detentions of major football figures have dealt another setback to the country's football ambitions. In February, just as stadiums started to reopen after COVID lockdowns, the president of the Chinese Football Association, Chen Suyan, was detained for suspected serious violations of discipline and the law. Mr. Chen's arrest was the 4th known example of a senior football official to be investigated in less than 3 months. Last November, former national coach Li Tai, who was one of China's most high-profile footballers, also came under investigation for serious violations of the law. Match fixing has also sparked controversy in South Korean football recently. Last month, the entire executive board of Korea's Football Association resigned after attempting to pardon some 100 people who had been banned from the sport due to match fixing and other offenses. Rugby League World Cup. France pulls out of hosting tournament in 2025. France has pulled out of hosting the 2025 Rugby League World Cup, with organizers citing financial reasons for the decision. The tournament was awarded to France after initial plans for it to be held in North America were scrapped. Organizers have been unable to meet financial criteria set out by the French government, leaving the event at the risk of a deficit. The tournament was to be staged during October and November 2025. The International Rugby League (IRL) says it will now consider other options for the 2025 tournament, with the board due to meet in July. "It's difficult to express how disappointed I am with this news," said IRL Chair Troy Grant. "There is no secret as to how important the strengthening of France as a rugby league nation is to our global game and central to our strategic plans. I respect the French government's decision amid the challenges they are facing, but I can't hide my disappointment that I conveyed clearly to them in person. Despite our focus having been on France, we will now accelerate our consideration of other contingency options." The 2025 tournament in France was to consist of 4 versions of the World Cup format: men's, women's, wheelchair, and youth. England held the event in 2022, with Australia being crowned the men's and women's champions and the host claiming the wheelchair title. After the success of last autumn's Rugby League World Cup in England, it is imperative that all in the sport now work with International Rugby League to rebuild the international calendar for men's, women's, and wheelchair rugby league, said Rugby Football League Chair Simon Johnson. Former Bradford Bulls and Wigan Warriors head coach Brian Noble told BBC Sport, "Rugby league in the Northern Hemisphere has to get a whole lot stronger. I think England needs a very strong France, and needs a France that can compete right through all levels," he said. "This World Cup, I feel, would have done that," he added. "In the short term, it's a punch in the stomach, the French not being able to host it. We need to help them to get stronger, because the higher the competition, the better it will be for our national team." Gab Ellison reporting from Undaunted, ABC Amba News.
Alright, thank you, Gab Ellison, for that report. And with that sports report, we've come to the end of Undaunted tonight. But before we go, let's take a look at our major highlights.
Well, Undaunted tonight, we brought to you Ambazonians returning to their usual activities today. Also, the Islamic Development Bank stakes 21 billion franc CFA for a so-called reconstruction of war-torn southern Cameroon.
Well, today we told you and gave you reasons why Ambazonians must boycott the 20th May celebration. Also, we told you that South Africa's ground forces commander visits Moscow. Another foreign first-time Kyiv has claimed to shoot down multiple Kinzhaus. And that was it for tonight. So Undaunted, bringing to the news on Church Stories. On behalf of Michael Anchor, Star Smart, and all the other crew, we say thank you for tuning in.
We'll leave you with ABC Amba TV images. Good night and God bless you.